As the final buzzer sounded on the Pistons' 2023 season, two die-hard fans, Mickey and Harry, each passed out and witnessed a vision. They were visited by Detroit's very own mascot, Hooper, the stallion ablaze, who told them the only way the Pistons would ever win a championship again was if these two men started a podcast. To be clear, they said, do we really have to do this? I mean, aren't there enough Pistons podcasts already? It seems like this might be overkill. But Hooper dunked on them, right in their face, and said, your team needs you. He presented them with a prophecy. Now it is their duty to help Detroit rise again and become champions. The Order of the Blazing Horse. Welcome back to another brand spanking new episode of The Order of the Blazing Horse, the only Detroit Pistons podcast, the only one based on a mystical prophecy. I am one of those prophets touched by a horse. Must iterate this every time, not in a creepy way, very appropriate way, but touched by a horse nonetheless. A horse ablaze, you might know him as Hooper. I am Harry Morrows out in the, well, you can say 313, out near 313 in that area. Don't dox me. Joined as always by my co-host, my co-prof with the most.
I'm Mickey Jacobs. How you doing, Harry?
Pretty good, man. How are you out there?
Speaking of being out here in Southern California, I woke up to some crazy news, and once I scrolled past all the horrific shit, I saw some other crazy news in the form of our very own Cade Cunningham doing a sketch infomercial for the Jimmy Kimmel Show featuring an establishment called Battery Hut, which just so happens to be a stone's throw from where I live, not to dox myself. So I couldn't believe it. I triple taked. I spat out my morning coffee. I couldn't believe it. So I had to swing by earlier today and get a little selfie. And man, was just a magic. I texted my girlfriend. I was like, can you believe that Cade was at Battery Hut? Because I got to tell you, I always thought and kind of still do think that Battery Hut is a front.
Wait, this place that you're in front of right here?
Yay! There it is.
You, Cade, who wore it better? That's the question. Who wore the Battery Hut better?
If I was driving down Victory Boulevard in Burbank, California, and I saw Cade standing outside of Battery Hut, I would probably crash my car, just like wondering what the hell is going on. I mean, I've never seen a celebrity at Battery Hut, but I've also never seen anyone at Battery Hut because it's a store that sells batteries and, you know, maybe whatever else. I don't know what goes on in the back room at Battery Hut, but shout out to Cade, shout out to Battery Hut, shout out to Burbank, shout out to local businesses and shout out to Cade's comedy chops, because he just keeps killing it. You know, we're a comedic Pistons podcast, and you were bringing up before we were recording, just every time Cade's put in a situation to be funny, he crushes it with the funny Marco interview. He's got chops. Maybe there's a Blake Griffin career after he retires, 20 years from now.
Truly, maybe he wants to become the producer of Order of the Blazing Horse. Get into
Why
the
wouldn't he?
game, dude.
Why would he not, dude?
He really does have a knack for being very funny, for being such like a low key, like serious leader on the court. But like even his post game, when he said that "I'm sizzling" thing, bro,
it's really funny.
So funny. He's a hilarious guy. I really like him. He's got a sense of humor that makes me feel like he's a good dad. Is that something?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's a good he's got good timing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a dry, but he has a good sense of himself, which not everybody does, and that goes a long way. So yeah, that was bizarre, man. That was
very,
a crazy
very
thing
aware in front of the camera, very aware on the court. So cool that you got to share this moment. You stood in the same place that Cade Cunningham stood on the street.
It was literally close to home. It was, again, don't come by looking for me trashing my TikTok takes, but it's It was so strange.
Do you think that that it came down to, as far as like local businesses, that battery place, the battery hut, and then that pediatrician that has like the illustration of the giant foot?
The foot. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, that would have been good. Or Baller Hardware. That's
Ooh, I
another
love
one.
Baller Hardware. Baller,
Yeah.
they insist it's Baller, but I know it's Baller. Get out of here. That's by where I used to live, right by oh my god, a Magpie's soft serve, incredible. And also like a secondhand store they used to buy a lot of my sneakers from was right there. That's a sick location, that whole area. I love it. LA's an awesome place. Don't hate on LA. It's very fun. I mean, I like Detroit a little bit better, but I love both. They both are near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than transplants who come to LA and shit all over it. That's not a cool thing to do. Mm-hmm. So if you move to LA, hey, you want to be here. Don't be knocking it. You can have a healthy love-hate just like any place, but
don't knock it because you can't make it.
Yeah, don't come from the Midwest with a tude, with a calling everybody fake, because they're all the people you're calling fake are from Connecticut or Ohio or wherever.
The fake thing, not everybody is fake, but there's plenty of fake. But there's plenty of fake literally everywhere. So
yeah,
it's just a little bit different. And if you're from the Midwest, don't be asking about the traffic. Don't be complaining about the traffic in LA. Doesn't it take 40 minutes to get from one end of the city to another? Doesn't it take an hour to get from one city to another out here? It's the same thing. It's just a little more spaced out. Both places are great. Both places have a lot to offer. Happy to have them both around. Cade's happy to be in both. We're happy to have Cade on our team. He's a superstar. We all know it. And the conversation around the Pistons, not to segue out of it and to segue about going coast to coast, as Cade might do on the court, but there's been so much focus on the Pistons getting a second star, essentially. Like, that's the plan for the Pistons. Get someone paired next to Cade. That's the number one thing. They have the guy. Now they need another guy to score. And I think the conversation in Detroit fan world centers around getting a 4 as your 2, getting a 2-4, or getting a 4-2 for your number 1 option to help. Whatever.
A 2x4. A 2x4.
Yes, a 2x4. That's great. Talk about your Baller Hardware, your Baller Hardware out there. Lumber's expensive now, though. That's what people got to remember. Lumber is expensive, so getting a 2x4 is going to be tough. And before the show, Mickey, tell me some of the best 4s in the NBA right now.
Well, we got Giannis, we got KD, we got Triple J, Pascal Tatum, of course, Siakam, and from there it gets a little crazy. It's a tough position. There's combo 4-5s, there's combo 3-4s. You've got some up and comers like J-Dub and Mobley, and Zion's a bit of a question mark now.
Is J-Dub a 4?
I mean,
I always thought him as like a 2-3.
I mean, he's like 6'5" or 6'6", but he's big. Like, he's big, and I feel like he plays the 4 for them.
Interesting.
Does he not? I mean, because do Chet and Hartenstein share the floor to start games?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think he's technically, but I mean, again, some teams don't have like a traditional. Jalen Johnson.
Oh yeah, Jalen Johnson.
That's another.
He's great.
Yeah,
but he's young. He's still like kind of unproven. It's just like he's a hopeful. But in general, it's a thin position. It's a thin, and like how many of those guys are the number 2 option? It's like some are the number 1 option, maybe a couple of number 2 option. Everybody else is like, they're pretty serviceable. You're pretty good in there. So getting that to be your number 2 option, it's like you have to go after KD, and I think what a lot of people want is, and I think we both want this too, in theory, is Triple J, right?
Yes.
And especially after the Desmond Bane trade to the Orlando Magic, who are now potentially a contender. I mean, they helped. Desmond Bane's a great player, and he's a Pistons killer. Like, he's solid. He does improve their 3-point shooting, although I think you need more than one player to improve your 3-point shooting in general. But now they have 3 like legit awesome offensive options on that team. and that's exciting for them. But the haul that Memphis got is killer, and Memphis still has a job problem, and they have a Triple J extension problem. All indications point to them wanting to continue to contend and to extend Triple J. But if the right offer comes along, it's hard to say no, I imagine.
Yeah, I don't know that they were necessarily trying to move off Desmond Bain, but when Magic come along and make you an offer you can't refuse, you gotta take it. I also just want to say I like I get it. Like it's very this is not my original take, but it's like a very Mikal Bridges-esque call for Desmond Bain, who is very good and
Very
like
good.
certainly a difference maker. I don't know if I would call him a star, although maybe with the usage that he will be getting over there. Although, as Sam and Bryce talked about, like you don't really want to take the ball super out of Paolo's hands. I do hesitate to say that this makes them a contender as assembled. Just because I think it absolutely like puts them on another tier. But have they made the playoffs? Like they were in the play-in. Were they in a first round series?
Yeah, they were in a pretty
Like
close first round
last
series
season?
last year. They had to play
Yeah,
them this year after those devastating injuries.
yeah.
They added Des Bain. They didn't give who they give up. KCP, who was terrible for them.
KCP and Cole-Anthony, who
Goodbye.
kind of yeah, and like kind of but I don't want to like. I think there's like a couple clips that would indicate that he might have a bit of a reputation.
Mhm.
Not just the Ivy thing, but I think diving at ankles seems to be like a little bit of a trend for him. And
A little bit like a blue healer, if you will.
yeah,
One of my dogs
yeah,
who tends to go for the ankles a little bit too frequently. But like what I'm saying about that is like you essentially swapped out Des Bain for KCP and Cole-Anthony. So like that's a massive upgrade. You kept
yeah.
everybody else. Like Jalen Suggs is still there. Your big man rotation is still insane with uh
Wendell
Goga
Carter,
and what's the dude?
Wendell Carter Jr.
Wendell Carter Jr. Thank you,
Yep.
and Jonathan Isaac. Right? It's like it ain't too bad. It really
No.
ain't too bad for them. And if they're healthy, now they have this other great 3-point shooter who can play off ball. On top of that, they're a contender in this like up for grabs East with Boston. People seemingly just rating Boston off. I'm not completely rating Boston off because like Tatum will still be back at the end of the season. All you have to do is like hold water, and then who knows how that'll go. But like Indiana made it like in a surprising way, people say, but they were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, so it's like, isn't that surprising? The Knicks are clearly trying to get better. Like the Pistons are on the rise. To me, it's not like the Cavs are still the fucking Cavs. They're still the same friggin' team. It's not like there's any definitive dominator in the East, but the Magic they could contend with anybody in the East as far as that goes. And
Yeah,
to me, that makes you a
and
contender.
yeah, like you said too, even with injuries, they were still dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I also really like Anthony Black. I think
Oh
like
yeah,
that's a nice guy. I hope that
Tristan
the
Silva.
absence of I hope the absence of Cole Anthony and KCP opens up more thing, because if Anthony Black can get improve shooting wise, that's scary. He's big, he
Have we
can
heard that
pass.
before anywhere?
We certainly have. But we got Vincent. You can't have him. He's ours.
Yeah,
He's ours, and it's gonna work. And it's gonna work magic.
yeah. Not,
Magic
but not
for
your Magic.
Detroit.
Yeah,
Not
that's
our,
right.
our
Magic in
we're,
the D,
we're in
not the
we're
ORLAND. Oh,
yeah. But anyway, exciting for them, and interesting for Memphis. It got me a little excited. It got me a little excited because trading one of their core pieces for a bunch of picks, I was like hearing some things. Maybe they're looking to blow it up. You sent me a little snippet of an article talking about how there were some murmurings in their front office about potentially blowing it up last year. There were trade rumors about Triple J. I
mm-hmm.
mean, that was before he was all defense and like doing a lot of legwork for that team. But that is a player as I forget if we talked about this last time, but that is a player I am not pro like make a chip shove trade like 1 to 2 of the young guys or several picks. For Triple J, I'm for it. Like I'm really like, if there was an opportunity to trade, like I think what we talked about was Ivy or Holland plus Tobias plus 3 picks, I would for sure do that.
Yeah. I
No
think
knock on them, but yeah, sorry, go ahead.
you don't have to, I cut you off. I'm sorry to agree. So please proceed, bro.
No, it's just that's a guy age-wise, skill set wise, especially if you could keep Duran. We did talk about it because yeah, Bryce was talking about how they sort of fill in each other's blanks with the rebounding for Duran and the defense for Triple J. So it it does sound like per Shams they are not looking to rebuild. I saw them amassing picks. I thought maybe they were like, hey, the OKC thing seems to be working. So who knows? Maybe it's possible, maybe it's not. But I've got a sliver of hope, just a sliver of hope, because I don't know what they're amassing picks for, if it's for like a KD type move or if they want to make a play at Giannis, which I don't really think makes sense in terms of shooting. But he's got to want to stay, and I think things are a little murky in Memphis with Ja kind of declining in terms of injury, and just, I mean, he's not the threat that he was a couple of years ago on the court anyway. But
Make you better watch your mouth, man. Throw those
yeah, I
words
know.
away.
Well, like he's catching strays, but maybe I'm gonna catch a stray here. um, but
A stray celebration, of course, is what we're talking about.
Of course, yeah, where he throwing the words out and you block it all out. But I just wonder, yeah, he could get paid a lot to extend with Memphis, but I feel like Triple J could get paid a lot to extend or to sign anywhere. What do you think?
So you know me, I've been like hot on I'd be kind of down for KD in Detroit thing. Now I'm kind of softened on that because it sounds like he's being very picky about where he wants to play. And I know people have talked about like his availability is less. He played 62 games last year and 75 the year before that. It's not that much of a concern for me injury wise, but like he's being so selective about where he's going to play and just like track record of success hasn't been great. Depending, and it sounds like also Phoenix is like really holding out that they get a haul for him, which I'm sorry, y'all, you ain't gonna get it. It ain't gonna happen. Like the teams in the front running are like Miami and Houston, and they're like, we're not giving you what you want, so let's hear what you're gonna deal with. And he said he wouldn't go to Minnesota. So like, I don't know. Like Minnesota seems potentially closer than Detroit to a championship. I don't know if he would even come here. Anyway, I'm moved past that. JJJ might be the only player, truly the only one that I would do a chip shove on because I think the price could be right. And yes, in this scenario, you have to give up Ivy, who I want to be on the team. I'm going to move into my preferred situation, my more realistic situation here in a second. But you do give up Ivy, you do give up Tobias Harris, and you do give up 3 first-round picks in this proposal, right? He's not an expiring. He doesn't want to be there. You don't have as much leverage. You're not going to get the same thing you got for Des Bane. Well, I mean, maybe you will because the part of that fourth pick came because you had to take on KCP. Regardless, the reason I'm okay with it, even though I love both Tobias and Ivy on this team and as players in general, is it's not that much for JJJ, who's on the timeline age-wise, who fills an exact need, who is a floor spacer and defensive big body, and who's a second option, like a clear-cut, proven second option with Michigan ties. When you move off of Ivy, you move off of the potential for paying a big salary. So that opens up more room for JJJ to get paid. You lose Tobias Harris, yes, but now you have an immediate starter in there. You don't have to be thinking about looking for who's going to replace him in the future. You have that at this point. So now when you have your big money, if it's going to be Ivy, if it's going to be Ron, then I think you have to extend Ivy this year, hopefully at a discount. If it's going to be Ivy, then you can see what you got with Ron and see how that's all going to go for a little bit. So I'm okay with that as for your chip shove. Do I think Memphis will? I hate when people ask themselves a question and answer it. Do I think this is a thing? No. Do I think Memphis will take it? No, I don't. But if they would, I would. Like I'd be down. However, and this is a big however, I don't think they will. So I'm trying to think more realistically about this team. And when we talked about the players who can play the 4. You like how much comedy we've gotten into so far? When they're talking about players who can play the 4, who could be your second option, the number, it's slim pickings out there. It's tough.
By the way, we forgot one, and I think it's a little disrespectful, but Julius Randle. We forgot about Julius Randle. He is a pure 4. He's
a pure 4, and he's on that list. But I wouldn't want him on this team. It's not my guy. It's just not my guy, because I think the cost and the usage is too much. The defense is like whatever about him. I'm not too concerned, because JB has showed that he can get people to start playing defense a little bit. And I don't hate Julius Randle either. I think Julius Randle's like fine. I just think it's more expensive and doesn't get you as much as this other option I want to pitch. And he's been on people's minds. People have talked about him. I believe Bryce did his first free agent, like potential acquisition article about him. That's Bryce at Motor City Hoops. Bryce Simon, if you haven't been following, he's on the Pistons Pulse. He's also on the Game Theory with Sam Vecini, guest on the show several times, and including our last episode, I believe. Regardless, my interest in the 4 is Jake LaRavia. And the reason I'm interested in is because he's fucking cheap as shit. Like, so crazy cheap. As a guy who can be your future starting 4. Will he be your second starting option? Of course not. Like, your second scoring option, rather. No. But if he's on your team, you can see if Ivy is going to be your second scoring option. You can see if Asar is going to be your second scoring option. You can see if Ron is going to be your second scoring option. Shit, you can see if Duran's going to be your second scoring option. And if it's none of those, then you still have some flexibility to make it work. With LaRavia's deal in Sacramento right now, he can't get jack from them, essentially. So if you offer him like a 4-year deal on, I don't know, like something in the teens, that's not expensive. Think about the Stu deal. If you offered him $415 and that got him away, and imagine he's your starting 4. The dude shot 50% on unguarded catch and shoot threes. He's got more off the bounce juice than Simone Fontecchio does. He's an offensive rebounder. He's a defensive rebounder. He's a pretty stout defender. He's a big body. Imagine a viable 3-point shooter who moves around the perimeter, who plays good defense, and you're getting him at Stu's contract now for the future when the CBA is even greater. That's great flexibility on your team. Then if you really need to find a second option, you still have some leeway, and you have new contracts with Asar, with Ivy, with Duran, with Ron, when you have to extend those guys to go get a bigger fish potentially. And you don't have to worry about using Tobias in that way. You could even keep Tobias at a lower rate after the season's over, and that's your backup. To me, and you can still see if Asar is your 4 or if Ron is your 4. It just gives you so much flexibility both on the roster and as far as like price goes. And so if it comes down to sending a bag away, it's only for JJJ. If it's anything else, get this cheap dude who's good at a ton of stuff.
Sorry,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I think the Stu deal might actually be like, I might not even take that much. Like, it just because, like, full disclosure, LaRavia first came on my radar because of daily fantasy sports, you know, like, and I was like, who is this kid? Because with injuries and everything going on in Memphis, like, they have like a bunch of wings, but they also had a bunch of injuries, and he's really solid. And in terms of he can be your starting 4, we're going to see, you know, or we would see, because he's not had that role before, really, not for like any consistent amount of time. He's come off the bench and he's been really solid, especially when there's a bunch of other wings. When we were talking to Bryce, I floated Santi, and he likes LaRavia's defense better. And, you know, granted, Aldama's more of a 4-5, and LaRavia is probably more of like a 3-4 kind of guy. But I really like it. I think it's a real low risk, and it's not even like a reclamation project. It's just sort of like, let's give him some run, because, and I like hate to say this, and I don't really know because I haven't seen, but like, there's a reason why we haven't seen Bobby Klintman play. Like, if he was just like popping off in the G League and was like, all right, we have to see what he can do, we would have seen what he can do. And he was a 37th pick. I don't know what pick LaRavia was, but I would love that. I would love that. And I think like one of the best parts about it is he's a solid 2-way guy. He's got size, he can shoot, and he's young and he's cheap and he like let's see what he can do with some minutes, like don't trust the per 36 or whatever. Let's just see what he can do. And I don't think we're getting rid of Tobias. Like I think for like a Triple J move, you would have to just for salary purposes, but if any of the vets is like kind of a lock to come back, it's Tobias. He means so much to this team. Like we saw in terms of leadership, I will eat crow on it because the way he started the season did not inspire me at all. I was like, I don't know if I want to watch another season of him starting, and I don't feel that way anymore. He really shut me up with his defense. His shooting got a lot better, and just knowing, like, hearing from everyone what he means to the squad, like just as leadership. And like we saw what happens when you have vets that have skill sets but aren't like leaders or aren't good for the team. Like we had that like in Bogey, and that's no knock on Bogey, but that's just not really his thing. So I think from what Omari has said, from what we've heard, it sounds like Tobias can stay with the Pistons franchise for about as long as he wants.
I'm fine with it. I'm
Me too.
assuming you're fine with it. Like,
Absolutely.
It was a big contract. Fuck it. The dude earned that contract, man.
I also don't think it was that crazy. Like, I don't think I know everyone says it is, but like
It's
CBA
20
stuff
mil,
now,
bro.
and like, what else are we gonna do with the cap, like, or with our salary? Like, I don't know. I never hated the salary of it all. It was just some of the like turnovers and mistakes and poor shooting early on that had me a little. I don't know if this is working out, but I mean, I just talked to a Sixers fan about how they feel about Tobias Harris being gone now in the season that Paul George had. I don't think I think they might miss him a little bit.
Although I heard that there's like a rumor that the Sixers are considering trading Paul George in the third pick to Utah for a swap. That's so funny.
What for? What?
Like for like a pick swap and like some bigger move, but there's grumblings of that. Could you imagine Paul George getting shipped and you have to give up the third pick on top of it? Like so rough out there. But that to your point about like we don't know if LaRavia is a starter. If you're paying him 15 mil or like something in that range, who cares? Like if he's a backup at that rate, whatever. And if he's your long-term starter at that rate, that's awesome.
You look like a genius if you can,
right?
Lock him down for 4 years on like 10 to 15 mil. Like
the only downside is if you have him on that rate, you can't extend him for very much. So you'll probably lose him after that. But if he's not your number 2 guy, then whatever. Then look to replace him. You have a plan at that point. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here for LaRavia nights in the land of Great Lakes. Dogs with
showing off them pipes.
Hang with T Grizzly. And the low income rates. LaRavia nights. Play at LCA. Hey, the best style of pizza. And as a coup de grace, you get to play with Cade.
Wow, musical improv skills on 100 right now. I hear you. I'm LaRaven about LaRavia. I think the possibility is really exciting, and I also just think like he's probably got a better chance at A, competing, and B, playing with us than he does Sack. You're playing behind Keegan Murray and who knows whoever else, like, or DeMar too. Like they can't play all those guys.
The money's better. The opportunity is better, and the chance at a title are better out here. I'm sure like that Detroit's one example of that. I'm sure there are plenty of other teams. I bet he's a hot commodity as far as free agency goes, and the Pistons probably have to move some stuff around, but like that's a move I'd be down with. Like send some stuff out, use some seconds. Sorry, Simone, but he's just a younger, better version of you. And
taller too, I think.
Taller. He's bigger. He's faster. Better off the bounce. Like, how many times did we see Simone pump fake and then drive to the lane on these never going to make it shots? Like, just never going to make it shots.
Yeah.
LaRavia's a little bit better about that. And he's got a quick pass. So, like, that's what I want. That's what I want to see. I desperately want that to be the move. That's my number 2 free agent move after getting Malik Beasley. And I think getting Malik Beasley is, like, it should be a done deal. To be honest, if it's not, I'll be shocked. But, like, he's going to be here. And again, this is also no shade to THJ. THJ might be out. in this whole context as well. And one quick thing I wanted to say about the Bobby Klintman stuff, here's a shining example of how we know Bobby isn't ready yet. Ron Holland, people were talking about him potentially being in the G League. He got sparing minutes at first, and then he earned his way into playing playoff minutes. I know he was number 5th pick this year, and that's fine. Bobby didn't even get to see regular season minutes. He didn't get to see his first regular season bucket until the end of the season. I like some of the stuff he has to offer, and he has potential to blossom, but he ain't there yet. He just ain't there yet. And let's say eventually he does get better, and you already have LaRavia on the team, and he becomes your backup. Great. There's more budget. Like, keep doing these picks. Save your picks. Stay cheap. And like, we keep talking about the OKC way. Someone asked me today, like, do you think OKC makes a trade with all their picks? And I was like, why would they? You have 1 million picks. You have guys you have to pay already. Those picks are so valuable because you can replace other guys that just get edged off your roster because of the salary with these draft picks. So just sometimes draft picks are worth using in my estimation. And if Detroit can continue to be great while doing that, let's get Ivy on a cheap deal. Let's get LaRavia on a cheap deal. Cade's got his Supermax deal. And then we'll work around and see what else we got going on. That's my 4 option. Our other 4 option would be in the draft. I think that's your other opportunity. And the draft is this Wednesday, I believe. Pistons have the 37th pick again. Is that right?
I think it might be. Yeah.
Yeah. So 3 straight years of the 5th pick, 2 straight years of the 37th pick.
Is that right? That's crazy.
Love rolling the dice out here. Although I think there was like some trades involved in all.
Do you know who's representing? Or no, that was the lottery where they send a Piston. So there's no one there. It's just the front
37th pick.
Yeah, go get him. Go get him.
Go tell him he's in the room.
Dennis Schroeder. If in fact.
Well, I think he'll get brought back too.
I hope so. So that's what you. Sorry, just to touch on. What, because you were talking about a 4 for next season. So that rotation would look like ideally Cade, Ivy, Asar, Tobias, Duran, Schroeder, Beasley, Ron, LaRavia, Stu,
correct.
Sasser, like Sasser, 11th man. Yeah. I'm stoked about that because you've just got people getting better, and for the sake of LaRavia, I don't think you could expect to be like your number 2 guy by any means, but like it'll be really interesting through the deadline to see if Ivy can emerge as that kind of scorer and that kind of presence, and just it's going to be good data collection, as Bryce likes to say.
I think it's going to be good continuity. Like that's a
great point.
To steal Trajan's term that he kept pushing at his postseason presser, I kind of think that's the most important thing with these Pistons and just with players in general. Like the teams are so quick to get rid of their coaches, to get rid of their quick young prospects. To bring up like a Detroit sports team where we're seeing some of this, people have been ready to get rid of Spencer Torkelson in Detroit on the Tigers, hat you're repping, for so long. And this year, he's one of the league leaders in home runs. He's a baller. He came on a little bit last year. It took a while. Sometimes it just takes a little bit. And if you can stay on the cheap, if you believe in the guy that you drafted, and I kind of believe in Ivy, like he has something special. He's very fast, like very fast. And
Sorry, I have to just cut you off and say I was like, going into last season, I was like, I don't know about Ivy, like not blaming him for the Monty stuff, but he really shut me up, man. Like the shooting, like I know he's been streaky and like he's had hot weeks and he's had really cold weeks, but man, if he can we know he works so hard. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to say how impressed I was and how interested I am in seeing the trajectory. The one thing that is the turnovers. One of the things is the turnovers, but anyway,
and continuity that should fix that.
Yes. Well, and like he played 2 minutes with Tobias and Asar, so
right,
like there wasn't a lot of continuity there. Anyway,
right.
I'm sorry.
So like let's figure it out. And as far as like the streaky shooting stuff goes, he shot 41% of the season. That means he must have been shooting insane for some stretches, like crazy insane.
He had like 60% from the field, 60 from 3 games, like a lot. Like he was looking really good,
That's
dude. Like
number
looking
two.
like a shooter.
That's number
Not
two.
not just like a speed demon. Yeah, and that's I agree. And I hope that the Bryce joke of who's the second best player on the Pistons, I hope we get an answer next season, and I hope it's Ivy. But either way, we'll have time to evaluate.
If they bet on it being him, but they pay him like in the 25 to 28 million extension range, and it doesn't even end up being him, then so what? Like it's not that big a deal in the grand scheme of things. It's the bank on that. Play the budget game, fill in the margins with like quality players. Don't shoot yourself in the foot like Phoenix. That's what I'm for. If we're looking at the draft, they have to trade up in order to fill that position. If that's what they're going to do, they have to. I mean, in all honesty, to get like a decent rotation player, they're probably gonna have to trade up anyway. That's I think the general consensus. And they have all these second round picks. Use them. Just fucking use them. I think last year with OKC, it took 5 second round picks to move up into the first round pick and to move into first. I think it will take maybe more this year to do so. But it's because second round picks, who knows how valuable they are with the NIL stuff. There are some wings to look at, like Nick Clifford he's good. He's the guy who knows how to play. He's at Colorado State. He does a lot of everything. He showed a lot of promise. Rasheer Fleming is exciting and big, a little bit raw. Pistons sometimes go for guys that don't have a great feel for the game. I don't love not feel for the game players, but maybe he can develop it a little bit. Who really knows? The guy's just so big. He's so beastly. But if you go after Laravia and you trade up for your pick, now you can trade up to potentially go after Maxime Reynaud, who everybody wants as your stretch 5, potentially of the future, or at least proof of concept guy out of Stanford. Smart
Third
move.
big. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
replace that. I mean, Bryce was telling us just like, that B-ball Paul, between foul trouble and injuries, he was an important guy for us.
Right. So now this gives you a change of pace on offense. So if you get Laravia, you trade up, you get Maxime Reynaud. Awesome. That's just awesome. That's a huge win. If the Pistons re-sign Beasley, sign Laravia, keep Schroeder. Sorry, Dennis.
Schroeder.
And trade up to get Reynaud. That to me is a huge win as far as like offseason plans go, because none of those moves are major. You don't jeopardize any of the future. Like none of your first round picks are gone for the future. Sick. And you fill all your needs at that point.
Can I ask you to move up in the draft if it cost Sasser? Would you do it?
Sure. Sorry, Marcus. I like him a lot, but we're talking about like third, or I get what, fifth guard, who's not a point guard, like not a ball handler, to get third center who's a floor space. If it assures me it's that guy, then yeah. Like if it's to get a wing, maybe not. But if it's to get like the floor spacing 7-footer who rebounds and is a mover around the perimeter, yes, I'm down.
Yeah, I bring it up because, we were talking about how, picks, especially second rounders, they're like nebulous, like theoretical, like sometimes it just feels like something you tack onto a trade to move up or whatever. Whereas like Sasser, could play a role for a team. Like he could just be a fourth guard, like just to come off the bench, like even as a break glass in case of emergency. He's a little older. He's proven himself against like actual NBA teams. He's done pretty solid with his minutes when he's had them. Like we all like him, but that's why I brought it up, just because, getting someone who can actually like be a part of this team for the future, you might have to actually give up like a semi-proven asset.
Right. And I'll be clear, I'd rather not. I'd love to keep him on the team. Like I would love for him to stay on the team, especially in the role that he's playing right now. But we're talking about giving him up in exchange to get a player that will for sure see playoff minutes. Giving up a player who's not getting playoff minutes to get a player who will see playoff minutes and has the potential to have a massive role in the future if things look pretty good. So yes, as much as I like Marcus and as much as I don't want to trade him, I would do it, even though I don't think it would take it to do it at this point.
Yeah. No, that's interesting.
I have another question because we're kind of like tumbling down here. a little bit as far as like draft talk goes. Another rumor, and he just pulled out of his workout with the Philadelphia 76ers, is that Ace Bailey's draft stock is dropping pretty significantly. Let's say Ace Bailey, and I don't think this will happen. Like, I really don't. He's got too much juice as a shooter, and I do think teams are interested, and I just think it's like part of the game, but like, you never know. If Ace Bailey, are you familiar with him out of Rutgers? 6'8"?
Yeah.
If he drops to pick 20, like Cam Whitmore did, would you trade up to get him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. No, because that was the Weaver. That was Weaver who passed. I mean, although I will say, like, Whitmore hasn't like done a whole lot. So I'm not saying. I mean, they also are pretty deep over there in terms of their wings and stuff. But no, I would be very interested in that. So is the thought that he declined to work out with the Sixers because he just like wouldn't get play time there, because they're what's the thinking there?
I believe the rumor is he, or at least the conspiracy. Conspiracy is such a dirty word, but whatever. The conspiracy around it is that he might have a promise from a team already. So if like if he's there in the top 5, so why go work out? But like who knows? He hasn't worked out with so many teams, so it's just like, it's just a question, and I don't think it'll happen because it seemed like Cam Whitmore's drop was more due to like medical stuff.
Yeah.
But if it did happen, that's something. It's something to consider. But the other way to consider it is like, why is he dropping so much? Like last year, Dalton Knecht dropped a whole bunch, right? And everyone's like, why is he dropping? The Lakers made a sick pick. And then the Lakers tried to friggin' trade him at the deadline for what, Mark Williams? Like, sometimes when you tumble, it's for a reason. I think you're more likely to strike gold on a player who goes late in the draft that no one is expecting to go early, as opposed to a player who everyone thought was going to go early and then drops way low in the draft.
Is the thought that he wants to get drafted by the Spurs?
I don't know. That'd be insane.
Spurs are. It's not fair. What pick do they have?
They have number 2. They're going for Dylan Harper.
Oh, right. That's their guard of the future. Well, I guess they're guard alongside De'Aaron Fox. Jesus Christ.
So who knows? Like, truly, who knows with that? But
shout out Wemby and his monk side mission that he's on right now. That's next level. That's he's doing his own thing, and I respect it. You see
with this picture of the Great Wall of China?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
He's an interesting guy. A reader,
he really is.
Tall Frenchman.
Yeah.
Oh man, you ever roll over your? There we go. Roll over.
You good?
Cord. Yeah, I was like pulling on it, like my hair got stuck in a coat or something.
Yeah. Anyway, I love the Shaolin Temple stuff. It's really been fun to watch. The shaved head and everything. Just
hey man, I'm here for it.
Transcendent. Yeah, I know. You're on your Shaolin shit too. Enter the woo.
Yo, I hang out at all 36 chambers. Shout out Ghostface Killer. I got a new album coming out pretty soon. Killer. Ghostface Killer. And also, if you're unfamiliar with the Wu-Tang Clan, you got to listen to Enter 36 Chambers, and you should for sure get Iron Man, Ghostface's first album. It's so good. It's so fucking good. And only built for Cuban Links, which is him and Raekwon the Chef. Shout out the Wu-Tang Clan. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, the whole clan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Wu-Tang Clan. Don't clip it.
Not the other one. Don't aggregate.
That's the only clan. That's the only clan that we fuck with over at Order of the Blazing Horse. And speaking of Order of the Blazing Horse, feel free to like, subscribe, share us with a friend. During the season, we're doing write-ups on Substack. We're contributing at Motor City Hoops sometimes. We love interacting with you. We love when you jump on the stream, and we just want to grow with you. We just want to keep it going. So don't forget to ring that bell and just keep with the 5-star reviews. We got a couple where our star count's on the rise, just like Cade Cunningham. We're to the moon, baby. So keep it going. You know what to do.
We're so bad at remembering to do that at the beginning of the show. I'm so happy you remembered to do that during this show. That's good. And
Thanks.
I think it's a great segue into our final segment here, because we're trying to get out early enough so you guys can watch the finals game. If you're listening in the aftermath, you'll know who won the finals potentially, or you'll know if it's a game 7. We'll see. Hallie's injured. Miles Turner said it ain't over, but it's gonna be rough.
It's gonna be tough. Yeah,
it's
gonna have to put in a lot of faith in TJ McConnell, and he's had a really solid showing. He's tough, but
he's gonna get a Ralph Lauren sponsorship afterward. He just seems like a Polo or a Ralph
Lauren. Sure, yeah, little
guy.
preppy guy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll see, but he gives those vibes.
But so it's the finals. We're in the finals, and right now it's the Thunder and the Pacers, but eventually, I don't know how soon, but pretty soon, I bet it's going to be the Pistons. And so we just thought we'd look down into the future. We've had one prophecy. Maybe we can do a little more prophesizing. So we're gonna see. Harry, when do you think the Pistons will be in the finals? What season? How many years from now do you think it'll take? Let's see how homer we can get with this. I can tell by your face it's gonna be like next season or some shit.
Someone go get me a pink icing glazed donut with sprinkles on it and get me a job at the nuclear power plant.
Because he's homer.
Pistons are gonna be in the finals in 2 seasons.
In 2 seasons. So the
2 seasons.
The what is that, 27 28 or
26 27?
26 27. Okay, I'm gonna say 28 29. Okay. I'm gonna say it'll be 2029 when the Pistons are in the finals. Who do you think they are going to be?
You didn't want to challenge me on this before? You don't want to ask why I think it'll be so soon? I want to know why you think it'll be in 5 years or 4 years.
Well, 4 years. Yeah. What do you think how do we get? What's the plan? What's the 2-year plan?
They're already good. They're good. They're young.
Yep.
They're fast. Teams ain't ready for them yet. It's going to happen. Why do you think it's going to take a couple more years?
Just because I think Boston's still really. I think it's going to be hard to get there. I think you've got other teams on the rise. The Cavs are really fucking good. And there's a couple teams that, like, even teams that aren't the best, there's a couple teams that just have our number. Like the fact that we couldn't really beat the Bucks like this season, like just in our current makeup, I think it's going to take some both development and some deck shuffling. I think you're going to have to move some guys. You're going to have to continue to craft the team around Cade and then improve. So that's going to take chemistry. It's going to take time. And there's some really good teams. So I think it'll take 4. I think I don't see us in the Eastern Conference Finals next season.
I don't either.
Like I don't think it's impossible, but I think that there's going to be like a gradual progression from knocked out in the first round to, maybe a second round exit
game
to
7. Second round game 7. That's my guess.
Second. Okay. For next season.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that.
I just see this team rolling and improving, and like Cade is so good. Like this team is so young. Cade is so good. Everybody wants to play with Cade. In 2 years, you could have somebody else on your team who really makes things happen.
Yeah, it's really like, it's amazing too, because we just talked about like what a bad game is for Cade, because even when he's bad, he's never a no-show.
So,
like he's.
I'm interrupting you here. He's never no-show. So like, go ahead.
Well, no, and I'm not saying like he's not the same kind of player as like Tyrese Halliburton, and obviously you can spread it around. Like he has Siakam, he has Miles Turner, he has weapons, more weapons, I would say, than the Pistons currently have. But by the way, like Tyrese isn't the only one who sometimes just like scores like 6 points, and he's also got a way better assist to turnover ratio than Cade. But a bad game for Cade is like 11, 6 and 6, or like 15, like 4 and 4, like it's not nothing. So it's just like continues to impress me, especially when he gets off to a slow start. just how he turns it on and just like can really go get a bucket at any time for the most part. There's other times when he forces it in like tight situations where it doesn't look as good, but just like at the end of the day, you might not get the dub, but the box score is always going to be pretty impressive. And just considering the rate at which he got dubs this season with the squad he had, I agree that the sky's the limit for the guy.
If we start seeing more game-winning shots from him next year, and if his conditioning goes up, look out NBA. Truly, because that's going to be a dude for a long time. All right. So let's move on to your next question here. Well, before I interrupted you, I just wanted to talk that one out a little bit.
No, I'm glad. Yeah, I didn't want to gloss over it. And by the way, I like conditioning, but I also hope that Ivy healthy just like takes pressure off him. Like, yes, in terms of ball handling, but also just in terms of, it's not always Cade with the ball in his hands at every set, and just like they can play a little tag team, and having someone to dish to either shoot or drive, just because that Ivy pump fake is going to be deadly, man.
Oh yeah. And he'll get to the line. Ivy will get to the line without a doubt.
Yes. He and Ron and Asar too.
Asar.
Like they're all really good at getting to the line. Like it's exciting. It's exciting. I'm getting juiced up just thinking about next season. But
I've got 3 quarts of juice downstairs right now.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking about it.
I'm pulped out right now. But all right. So who's the ops? Who's the opponent? Who are the Pistons going to be facing in the either 2027 or 2029 finals?
The Minnesota Timberwolves. Ant versus Cade in the finals, both going for their first championship, fighting to be the face of the league.
Ooh, that would be a sweet ticket. That'd be a really awesome matchup.
The best of the Midwest? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I had to think about this. I think that's a really good answer, especially because the Timberwolves are really good, and 3 years ago, 3 years from now, or 2 years from now, 2 to 4 years from now, they're not going to look like how they look now. I think they're really solid, but they're also very incomplete. Like Conley is not the answer at the 1, and Rudy is not a long-term answer at the 5. So it'll be really interesting to see how they continue to build the team around Ant. I love J-Mac. I love Nas is like a folk hero. So it'll be interesting. I think that's a really good answer.
And Julius is good. Like Julius is legit.
Julius is guy. I keep forgetting just so much. He's endured so much disrespect, but yeah, Julius is good. But yeah, I don't even know if he's going to be on the team X years from now. Maybe he is. But just, it'll be interesting to see. I had to think about this. I thought that this is not my answer, but I think the Rockets are an interesting team to watch not because they're like set and ready to go now, but they had a first round exit. But I think they're gonna build more around Amen than they are Sengun or Green. I think Green is not long for the Rockets. As crazy athletic as that backcourt is, like I wouldn't be surprised if they moved off of him at some point. And so I just don't know what it's going to look like. So I'm not going to say the Rockets.
Wouldn't that be such a great finals though? Like Cade versus Jalen, like if that's the squad, and like the rivalry that Detroit
the 1-2. Yeah.
And like I will say, if the Pistons lost to the Rockets in this iteration, people would be burning down houses.
Yeah. Well, and the Amen Asar storyline, but I just don't know what they're gonna look like, so I don't want to say that. Here's my answer: is I think it's still gonna be the Thunder, man. I think 4 years from now, Shea's gonna be 31 or 30 or 31, like still in his prime. They've got young guys. They've got a million picks. Like they have all the flexibility in the world. Like they're probably not going to shuffle the deck now, but like they can consolidate, the Wiggins and the Joes of the world, and just like they have such a good core to build around. And I think people are going to want to go there. So I'm not saying they're going to win. They're going to three-peat or anything, or, just like be a huge dynasty. But like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's who's gonna just for years. It's who's gonna beat OKC.
They have the ability to be an incredible force
Yeah.
in the league, and they'll have experience at this point. Like experience matters a lot. I do think it's interesting that neither of us picked the San Antonio Spurs.
You know, that's a really good answer too. Like that could absolutely come to fruition. This is a bad take, but I think why not light it up? I'm not like certain. I mean, they're gonna go for Harper Jr.
I think so.
I don't know that I love the like De'Aaron Fox fit. Like he's super good and an incredible scorer, but I just don't know. Maybe it'll be awesome, but like I just don't like necessarily think of him as like the distributor that Wemby needs, or like the guy, the CP3 that's gonna put the ball, like that knows how to get. Like I don't understand how the Spurs have such a hard time getting Wemby the ball.
Just throw
like,
it up in the air, goddammit.
Yeah, like why is that not? Why just spam that shit? Like it's like you can pick and roll, you can pick and pop. Like he's banging threes. Like I just think De'Aaron's a guy who kind of needs the ball in his hands a lot, and unless he's like willing to, you know, cut down on that or take on more of a floor general role, which is just I don't really think of him as that kind of guard. Like I think of him as more of like a Maxey or like even like Donovan Mitchell, you know, where it's like they kind of just put their head down. They can pass. They're skilled passers. I'm not trying to like knock, but I do think like a guy like a Trae Young or a
Cade
Cunningham. Don't do this.
Could you imagine
Texas? Stop.
Could you
Stop.
imagine?
Don't even put that out there.
I'm talking about if the Pistons had gotten the first pick when they were so bad. Not if Cade.
I thought you were talking about Cade leaving us for Texas.
I would consider putting a bet that Cade spends his career in Detroit as a Piston. I know it doesn't happen often, but I think it could happen with him.
I do too. I mean, I want it to. Like, I certainly want it to. But yeah, I think he needs like a real. But whatever. De'Aaron Fox is really good, and he can score so much. He's a really gifted scorer, and I think at least for now it's totally fine. How old is he? Like 27 or like 26?
I think 27 is correct. But I'm confident they'll be in the playoffs next year, pending this blood clot situation.
Yeah, hope he's okay. That's really I mean, if he's doing Shaolin Monk stuff, maybe he's good. Yeah, you're right. He's 27.
Eastern medicine. So, well, technically you were right, to be honest, but
that's we're both right.
So you got one more question out of this finals thing.
I do. Okay. Who is the? I think we know who the number one option would be. Who's the number one option and the number two option? Because maybe Cade is, as Bryce has discussed, like maybe Cade. I mean, this was kind of before he was an all-star that he was saying this, but Cade could be your best player without being your number one scoring option in the future. If like he had like a Donovan Mitchell in his backcourt or someone like you know, just like a pure scorer. So who's number one? Who's number two?
Scoring option? We're talking about scoring option, not like second best player, right?
Yeah. I want to write mine down because I wonder if you're going to say the same thing.
It's Jaden Ivey. That's my answer.
Whoa!
Yeah. I'll say it.
Whoa!
I think Ivey's going to average over 20 points a game next year, and I think it's going to be even more than that in 2 years.
Wow. I love it. I love that.
So I'm going to take it that wasn't your answer. I'm sipping the whole juice right now. I'm sipping, what's it called? Is it Eucharist what you eat?
That's what you eat. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know
the body. That's sweet.
I'm sipping the juice, Chris. I don't know what the word is for it. But
well, you want the blood and the body. Mm-hmm. You want the body, the blood. We were talking to Bryce last week, and I got it back in my head. Health permitting, he had me thinking Trey Murphy could be a second option, and it might not be now. It might not be now. It might not be soon. But 3 years from now, once his contract ends, if Pelicans are still flapping around aimlessly over there doing God knows what, I would love to get him on the squad next to Cade. I think his solid defense and just
the
size and the shooting. It's just I'm still not over those summer videos of those two hooping together. It looked really good.
How tall is Trey Murphy?
I think he's like over 6'6".
Okay, so that means we're talking a starting lineup of like 6'6", 6'6", 6'6", 6'9",
Huge,
6'11".
huge. He's 6'8", dude.
He's 6'8", 6'6", 6'8",
6'8"
6'6".
two guard. That's crazy.
That
With
means
Asar at the 3, you know.
your 1, 2, 3 could be bigger than every other team's like 2, 3, 4.
That would be so sick. I love that. And he's also a really good athlete.
Yeah.
He's also anyway, there's lots to love. I got a player crush on Trey Murphy. I think he's so good, and the health is a concern, like, but fit wise, I just like that's pretty great.
Mickey, because right now, Troy Weaver and Joe Dumars are running the show. Their first year at the New Orleans Pelicans, who are in a little bit of a pickle at the moment with what to do with their squad. You have an opportunity to offer them a deal for TM3 this year, because this is probably going to be your best opportunity to get him really at a price. You can swindle these dudes in their first year. What are you offering?
You bringing up that Troy Weaver and Joe Dumars are over there is interesting, because I would for sure trade Jaden Ivey and probably a pick or two to get Trey Murphy. But I mean, like, short of breaking his ankle, Ivy was healthier. Ivy's been healthier than Trey Murphy, so it scares me a little bit. But I would trade him in 1 to 2 picks. But you talking about how Troy Weaver's over there, and we know what Troy likes, and Troy likes Jalen Duren.
Boys, yeah.
He likes the big boys. I don't know how we would fill that hulking, muscle-bound, just mountain of a man-sized hole that Jalen Duren would leave. But, like, you know, whether it's a Day'Ron Sharp or some
Lopez,
Brooke. Oh my God!
and
dude.
then you can play a star.
So okay, so that lineup. Holy shit! Well, by the way, in this scenario, Ivy's still here.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like,
so wait, you're saying? Let me stay with you. Cade, Ivy.
No,
Ivy off the bench, 6 man.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if you wanted to run. Right, because we still have Tobias in this scenario. Okay, so it would be Corbin's here for that. Yeah, he wants to hear about Jalen Duren's just raw power and vascularity. The veins just pulsing on his bicep.
Just traps on laps. give me that trap dance, son.
Oh, just rippling body muscle bound,
cascading down.
Now I'm all pumped.
Sweat like bowling balls into the valleys.
The most hey, that's sports. Who are we kidding? Okay, so Cade, Trey Murphy, Asar, Tobias, and Brooke Lopez with Ivy off the bench. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. I don't think Brooke Lopez is coming here, but I like it.
If you moved Duren, I think you could convince Brooke Lopez to come here. And if you draft, like, let's say they trade up.
I guess he's been in Milwaukee, because I think it was Bryce Bryce and Sam talking about how he'd probably want to go to one of the LA teams who could use either a big or a backup big. I don't know if the Lakers want to go that old though, but
if you offer him the starting position next to Cade Cunningham, next to a team that's running this defense, that's a real shot at a championship right there. That's a championship team.
I like it too, because you get the proof of concept with Brooke Lopez, and then you get to see like Asar is the only non-shooter in the lineup.
Yep.
And Ivy, him coming off the bench might be like he could just cook, and barring with injuries and foul trouble, like you get minutes with Cade, minutes without. Like, I really like that, especially because Trey Murphy's good off ball as well. Yep. Like, there's a lot to like about that. So I think my answer is Ivy Ivy or Duren plus 1 to 2 picks. 1 to 2 first round picks.
I think I would maybe do Duren. And I know that sounds crazy because that like changes the whole Ivy trajectory, but with Trey Murphy's health, Like, you could play him at the 3 or you could play him at the 2, and then if he goes down, you have Ivy coming in the starting lineup afterward. And then that forces your hand into getting a spacer, which makes life easier for Asar. And I want Duran to stay on the team, but like,
I do too.
bro, I might do that. Like, I
Yeah.
for real might do that. Wild. Because also, if that's your team, what are your first round picks moving forward? Like the 25s, the 20s. That's what the president of basketball operations for Orlando said. Like, I didn't mind moving those picks because we think we're going to be really good. So like, now you don't have those picks. Yeah, they could be role players and stuff, but like, run the squad, bro. Run the squad. You still have Ron. You still have Ivy. You still have Stu. You potentially get. Oh wait, you still have Beasley. You potentially get Laravia. Like, this team could be bonkers if that was the case.
Yeah, it's really interesting. First of all, I remember you and Bryce talking about it, but I had forgotten that Weaver had left the Wizards to the Pelicans, which is just like, I feel like the Pelicans are like an even more fucked up organization to be honest, especially now. Like, but
I believe they're both in the bottom 5 run organizations as voted by the players in the league.
I mean, but at least like, I mean, it sucks the Wizards have been rebuilding as long as they have, and they don't seem to have like a guy. I listened to Sam and Bryce's Wizards offseason preview, and you know, like they've actually got like a nice smattering of vets, like Marcus Smart, like in the same way that the Pistons had, you know, Tobias and Beasley and THJ. Like,
I think it'll be a better season next year for the Wizards, and I have hope.
Oh, and Poole too, like as just like the lead scorer, ball handler, and like just being a solid vet. So yeah, I think they're in better shape. But it's really interesting to me thinking about, like, now that Weaver's in New Orleans, knowing how much he values Jalen Duren. And like, you know, we heard that like he would maybe pick him at 5.
Right.
Like I don't, obviously no one, like, that's speculation, but like,
and Duren's gotten better on top of it. So like, I'm just saying, like, not that I would do this. I would pick up the phone and have a little conversation about it.
Yeah. It's interesting you saying that if you're gonna go for him, now's the time.
I mean, why not?
Why not? I mean, yeah.
Fleet pull their pants down when they just pulled them up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just put on your trousers. Let's take them away from you.
You know, and like, there's also a case to be made that not thrusting Ivy right into the starting lineup coming off of this injury, like there's logic there. You know, obviously
have him go from starting to the bench and
I know, but it's not because of indecision or because we don't think he's good. It's just about, you know, injury and like what's best next to Cade in terms of fit in that starting lineup and in terms of playing alongside Asar.
I mean, you could even do 5 out if you didn't want Asar in the starting lineup at some point. You could do 5 shooting out as far as like Cade, Ivy, TM3, Tobias, Brooke, right? That's 5 guys who can shoot the 3.
But that's tough defensively. That's
it is. You're right. That is not defensively. Swap that out.
Yeah, I'm a real believer in Asar in the starting lineup for the purposes of guarding the other team's best player.
Right. Well, I'm just saying it gives you flexibility, because then, I mean, you could have Asar over Tobias. If Asar is your 4, which is the position you'd have him in on offense in that situation, like, that also works out.
I don't know about Asar at the 4. I don't know that I'm not saying he couldn't do it, but I like the idea of, like, I don't like us getting outsized, you know, like it's like, especially by like
6'6", you know, 6'8", 6'6".
Well, yeah, in the backcourt, but the front down low, I mean, like, you know, you saw it with like Giannis and Brooke, or like Mobley and Allen, like, and I'm not saying I want like a Twin Towers never forget lineup, but yeah, I like the idea of having a bigger dude. You know who we haven't talked about potentially? Where are you at on Bobby Portis?
Out. 100%
out on Bopo. Okay.
Old, expensive, limited. Okay. Out is where I'm at.
Before we go, can I bring up some other options at the 4, not for this offseason, but just are you in or out on these guys? Not saying like you'd trade Ivy or Duran for them, but just there are a couple names that are interesting to me for the future. If like LaRavia signs elsewhere for whatever reason.
So this is the lightning round for the Pistons specifically, not how I feel about these players in general, but just how, and that shout out to Lightning, which is a great basketball game, which I found out somewhat recently people call knockout.
Knockout.
Well.
I knew it was knockout as well.
Just played on my bros trip out in Salt
What'd
Lake City. I did not do well. I got into a little argument because first of all, the backboard had a hole in the center of it. Like there was a giant hole cracked through it, which is crazy.
So why do you need the backboard, Harry? Why do you need the backboard?
I didn't need the backboard. First part, there's a hole in the backboard. Second part, we were playing on a cliff. Like our buddy was shooting warm-up shots, airballed one, and it went all the way down this cliff.
That
like,
sucks.
So we had somebody playing backup, like the if you were out already, or if you were the last person,
you're rebounding.
Not rebounding, but just like making sure balls didn't go over. Right. The person who went before me in lightning or knockout, whatever you want to call it, shot it through the hole in the backboard. The person behind it caught it and passed it to them under the basket before I was able to get my.
You're not supposed to.
I was livid
because people used to, like, if you're not on a cliff, people would like kick the ball away. You know, like you play defense, right? Essentially.
So like, he's like, "What am I supposed to do?" I'm like, "Just make sure it doesn't go over. Smack it down." So then on the next,
I can feel how mad you were.
I shot it. It went off the rim through the hole, and then he just let it go. And I was like, "This sucks. This is why this sucks."
That's that one's kind of on you because you.
To be fair, I stayed in on that. I made a sick ass come around little layup on it, but I did get bounced like a little bit earlier than I expected. Both I didn't do very well in the basketball things. We did free throw competition. I finished in third, and in lightning we only had 2 placements, and I didn't finish with either of those.
That's a fun game. That's a fun like non-basketball basketball game. I like that more than like a horse or
around the world 21
or 21. Yeah. All right, you want to 4 is the magic number? This shit.
Let's do 4 is the magic number.
Okay, I don't have a ton, but there are just some names that are interesting to me, like particularly younger names. What do you think about Jabari Smith Jr.?
Pass.
Keegan Murray.
In.
Okay. Obi Toppin.
In for backup.
Right. But interesting player. Like
I like
that was one of the ones that's interesting to me, especially like they've got a crowded wing room over there. Who knows what he'd look like with more run? He was like an issue defensively, or I remember people were worried that he'd be a liability, and I don't know that he is great defensively, but I don't think he's like terrible.
Dude, I don't even care. I just want to see some Detroit Piston East Bay slams on the fast break between the legs.
Dude, and the corner threes too. The corner threes.
Obi Thrice is what I've been calling him. He's been nailing those things. Real name, no gimmick.
No gimmick. Beat me to it. Speaking of Indiana, speaking of Indiana wings, Jarris Walker. Yeah, we like
defense.
him.
Defense is so good.
I'm trying to think if there's any others. I feel like there were some in Portland that were interesting to me because they're not trading Tumani. I don't know. That might be it. I didn't have many. I just Are there any other, or there's one on the Sixers who got some run?
I don't know. I'm not.
Anyway, that's fine. Justin Edwards, I think was.
No, out.
Okay.
Where are you on these players?
I'm more or less with you. I think there's something interesting about Jabari Smith Jr. if his value, but I mean, we've seen what happens with some of these reclamation projects, but they were playing him like at the small ball 5 at a certain point, and like he was getting rebounds. I don't know if like I don't know if his shooting like improved. I didn't watch a ton of Rockets games. I'm like a little bit of a sicko. I'll watch like non-Pistons games, but I don't really know what happened there.
No shade. I wasn't that high on him on the draft. I know like people were talking about him for number 1. I didn't really get it, but I ain't down with summer league all-stars. Like I'm sure he's like fine. I'm not interested in the cost to get him at this point.
Right. This would like what would be interesting to me is if the cost diminished and it was like, all right, you can come off the bench and see how it goes. Like, who's to say, like, he doesn't have like Laravia potential, like in the same. But I mean, I think Laravia is proven. Like, I was just looking up Jabari's splits, and they're not good.
They're
Like,
not.
it's like 43-34.
That's not
Like, I
really.
mean, that's not great for if your three ball is supposed to be one of your like biggest attributes. Oh yeah, I also really like Tari Eason though. I forgot to bring up him. Where are you at on Tari Eason?
On this team, pass because we have too many him.
What do you mean?
We have
Stu?
Iran, we have Nassar. We have
Okay,
guys
okay.
who are that size who aren't shooters, and he's not a shooter.
Is he not?
Not, I don't think so. He's a defensive menace, but I don't think too much of an offensive force. What are the stats?
Got it.
Like, how many threes is he shooting a game? What percentage is he putting in?
Let's see. God, it's hard. Why does Yahoo have the best like stats?
I use Basketball Reference as well.
Okay.
All right, so he shot last season 33 pointers a game, made one 3.42%. Or sorry, 34.2%.
Yeah.
Like,
That's not bad.
it's not good.
It's not. Yeah, it's below league average.
It's
but,
not what I want if we're getting a new four. You know what I mean?
You know who I like, who I don't think would be able to get, and he's not even really a four, you could argue, but is Kalel Ware.
I know you love him. He's got some stuff, but if Miami isn't trading him to get Kevin Durant, he ain't coming this way.
Okay, PJ Washington.
Pass.
Okay.
You know my feelings about PJ. I hold a grudge.
I know, but there's a handful of players that I don't like, but I would like on this team. Where you got me with PJ Washington is the height. But I still think he plays bigger than 6'6", but like I'm talking about how I don't want a 3, I want a 4.
Right.
Like I want a real 4.
I want a 4. Yeah, I mean, you just said you couldn't start at the 4 because of size. You can't start PJ Washington at the 4 because of size.
I also just don't think that's like the guy. Like I don't think Asar should be guarding 4s. Like, or
Right.
that's not really who I want him on the perimeter, like
That's
guarding like their best guard, like, or their,
I got one.
I would want him guarding Shea.
I got one for you, and my answer on him is no. I'll spoil that. You already know my answers on him is no. This will be the last one before we head out. Grayson Allen.
At the 4?
I don't care where, just on the team.
Yeah, I would like Grayson Allen on this team. I for sure. It's a guy I feel like he kind of like, I feel like nobody, like nobody's making any more allegations. I feel like he kind of ditched that rep. Like as like a dirty player. Like I feel like Cole-Anthony is talked about more, or maybe I'm just in my bubble.
We'll see.
No, I thought he was a really good glue guy for them, as like kind of like a Max Strusy dude who can like play defense, just dribble, pass, shoot, and like play defense. I want guys who can do everything. Like I want that. Like I like having defensive specialists and like shooting specialists, but like I think the more that we can like have two-way dudes, like the better off we will be. And I do think he's a two-way dude. I don't like know he is 29. He's not like a baby, but I actually think that would be a really solid piece. You would not have it.
No, because I don't like having guys on the team who I don't like. I know people say Stu's dirty. I can defend Stu. Like 100%, I can defend Stu and all this.
This is a very pro Stu podcast, by the way.
And like if he was on another team, I wouldn't hate him because I don't think he's a dirty player. I think sometimes he does wild stuff, but I don't think of him as like Grayson Allen dirty. And I don't like Grayson Allen.
The depiction of Stu in the media really sucks because it's either just him doing like the 1 to 2 crazy things he does per season, or getting yammed on.
Right.
And like they're never showing the 2 to 3 blocks that happened before and after him getting dunked on, and the fact that he's not afraid to get dunked on, that he's putting himself, that he's not making business decisions. He's out in the farm, working the land, we're protecting the rim, dude. That's what I love. Shout out Laz, who
will join us on Tuesday for a special early in the week podcast.
Very exciting. And if you like people like Laz, if you like people like Bryce, if you like all of the wonderful comedians and Pistons experts and basketball experts that we've had on the show, like, subscribe, leave us a comment. Corbin loves hearing us talk about Jalen Duren's insane physique. And can you blame him? Because, oh my God, rippling, just...
washboard abs on his pecs.
Oh, just bouncing. He's got abs on his abs. He's got
my man doesn't have a six. He doesn't have a six pack. He's got a 30 rack, dude. He's got Milwaukee best down
there. Anyway, Laz was saying how he thinks Stu is the second most valuable player on the team, and I have oft said that Stu is untouchable. Yep. And I stand by that, and I love that he said that, and I fully agree.
The contract's too good, the players,
the value, good. the Marcus Smart of the Celtics vibes, you know, where not the best player on the team, but certainly like crucial to the identity of that team. I mean, so yeah, I love Stu, and yeah,
we ain't got nothing but love for you.
No beef with beef here. We are pro beef, but yeah, I'm excited, man. I really hope he comes back healthy, because he's just such a big part of what the Pistons do.
I couldn't agree more, and I really hope you had a good time on this podcast. I hope you had a good time joining us. We're finishing just in time for you to catch the beginning of this finals game, probably, potentially. I'm clearly already resigned to the
Goose is cooked, dude. Yeah. Goose is I hate to say it. I was rooting for the Pacers, but I think it's Dunzo. But if Hallie's out, like even or if he's gimpy, it's gonna be tough. Even when he's not putting up 20 plus points, he's so integral to what they do. Although, hey, if they got guards, Nemby, TJ, we'll see.
We've been saying it, not just all postseason, all season. The healthy team wins.
Yeah, and OKC is very good.
Yeah,
OKC is very, very good. Credit to them.
Credit to you for joining us. Credit to you for participating. Credit to Corbin for joining in the chat. Credit to Jalen Duren for hitting the gym, just getting that bod tight, right? Like you could take that bod on the Dream Cruise on Woodward, and people would be fucking their horns. Dude.
Diesel, baby. That's Detroit muscle if I ever saw it. My God. My God.
The thirstiest podcast on the Midwest/West Coast. So thank you for joining us for another episode of the Order of the Blazing Horse. As always, we end the podcast by saying the acronym OOBH because it sounds like what a horse would say. So I'm Harry.
And I'm Mickey.